Hi, this is Ron Janish. My phone's been ringing off the hook with people wanting to know how to computerize the Andrews techniques, and uh, they've been asking me lots and lots of questions. Most of them are pretty much the same, so I'm going to try to answer them in a video here. First of all, if you need something to ponder, if you're doing the Andrews technology, what concealed geometry line do you use to know if prices are making a trend change or that the trend has ended? Hint, it's not a trend line. Now, on to computerizing Andrews. One of the things that people run into when they're trying to computerize it is that they run into the course rules and they see things like it's a high probability it'll reach the ML, prices are the reverse, we're going through it, and and that's kind of where they're at. And they go through these 5 rules and can't really build a system based on that. And so what happens is they go through the course material. This is the original works of Alan Andrews, and not mine. And he has another set of rules, and these are the 9 rules. And there you have the rule of coming opposites, of how it applies through life, and turn your mind about, and how to anticipate major pivots. If after a decline you can count 5 pivots, 4 previous pivots, the fifth one is probable to be one from which a new trend starts. The fifth or greater, I would say. And then there's several other rules. Um, I'm not sure if I ever programmed much or any of those things in, or had anybody else do that. Um, what we what we found useful was that there was there was some things that Andrews did, and some of it's in his written material that he sent out, what he called a course, and a lot of it's in his earlier work, where he would go and he would describe certain things in his course letters that he sent out on a weekly basis, and he would give some lessons in there, and then he would put his handwritten comments on certain things, and he gave lots and lots of examples, as you can see here. And if you look in the Andrews archives, you'll see that there's just a lot of great material like this that gives you a lot of good information. And then there's some of the more detailed things that deal with things over longer periods of time. And then there's this is a weekly course letter where he showed people how to buy it, when to buy and sell. And here's another one that's really kind of neat. This is one of his weekly course letters. This is from 6/8/78, and at that time I think he was even a little fragile then. And this is where he would show you exactly the positions he was taking. Now at the time, this might have been the time when he was trading a fund, and this was a fund that of money that course members put together, things like that. He was involved somehow in that. And as you can see, he clearly told why he put the different positions in, and whether he used a median line, or whether he used a 0 4 line, or whether he used an H line. And he would talk about that in great detail. And in his archives, you can see just time and time again the reasons he took for taking all these trades. And it was absolutely amazing. Now, some people have asked me, well, if he has all these wonderful archives and he has all these course studies, what happened that he put together a this what looks nice now, but originally was really poorly copied 50, 60 pieces of paper? Well, what happened was he was really overwhelmed. I mean, you could see here it says why your letters are not being answered more promptly is because you wonderful course members have been sending me such wonderful letters in such quantity that there doesn't seem to be enough time. And there really wasn't. Andrews was at a summer home in Massachusetts, or at his winter home in Florida, and like when I went there, the phone would just ring constantly with people who were trading futures and had taken his course. Even people who hadn't taken his course were calling him and asking him questions, asking him for advice. And And then there was a constant barrage of mail that would come, just lots and lots of letters with people would send in their chart work, and he would tell them to send their chart work so he could correct it, and he could encourage them, and he could help them along. And so, because what he did was he started in the 1960s, or maybe even a little bit earlier, teaching the course, and in the 60s he put together some really good material that where he was really loose, and he put these things together, and you could read them, and you'd know why he bought this and why you bought that. And he pretty much used the Babson 12 golden rules for trading at that time. And later on, as more and more people came to him, things changed, and people brought in their own rules. You had McDonald's rule, you had Hagopian's rule, you had Parker's rule, you had just lots and lots of different people's rules. And so over time, then you had the Schiff ML, and things just dramatically changed from what he originally had. So we went back through the archives and just looked at what he originally had, and then and those weren't very many things that you really had to program in, and we popped them into a computer, and what we came out was rather cool. So that's what I finally came to. But that takes a lot of work, and that takes going through the archives and stuff of the Andrews material, and and there's some of it on the web. Um, it's out there. The anyway, just I encourage you to make sure that you're complete in what you do. Let me give you an example. When I originally did this, this is a wonderful computer program I worked on with a physicist. One of the things we looked at was, well, the first deal was we had to figure out how to count pivots, how to select what a pivot point is and what a pivot point isn't. And so the computer does it automatically, and then we decided to label the pivots a certain way. And if they weren't, if price went down, for example, and it wasn't lower than the previous low, like in, let's see if it, whoops, I don't know what's going on. Okay, like in this case here, this is your previous low, and prices went down and didn't quite break that low. This was then called and designated as A, B, C, D, E. Whereas if it made higher highs than previously, it would go through the letter Z, and those, and this way I would be able to tell the computer program to only take signals of a certain type. Let me show you here what else we did. Here we go. Okay, here we are. When I was first into this thing here, and what I have now, what I do now is a lot less complex. I just use some straightforward rules. The What we did was we looked at micro pivots, min pivots, and combining them, and then we would also look at the idea of what major pivots are, and we would have Andrews always talked about gaps, and that gaps are a pivot, and so we had it in the computer program that the computer could consider what a gap was, and whether or not the computer would consider holidays and all those cool kind of things. And then we would say to the computer, well, only take this signal, look for this condition to be true at a certain pivot, and so it would designate which pivot it would do. And by the way, I don't sell this program, even though you can get it out there on the web somewhere. And then um, the program was nice enough to be able to find that condition for you as part of a system, and you could have a whole bunch of different conditions in a system and design exactly what you were looking for, because sometimes Andrew's signals back then anyway were rather complex. And so this very nice gentleman, I paid him to do this, and he made this program, and I said, well, I really don't want to be out there selling software that's this complex to the public, so I don't sell it. Anyway, he does, and that's another matter. The Since you're interested in developing your own, what I have done personally is, at this point, is I've got it to the point where what I mostly look for are certain 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 patterns and go from there. And I've done this as a result of just a ton of work and research and stuff like that. So, how you do things is up to you. I've seen people be incredibly successful at combining just pivots with certain indicators or pivot models with indicators of certain kinds, like not RSI, but something like that, and just incredibly successful. So I wish you lots of success and thank you for your time. If you do want to get in contact with us, you can just write to me at support@gentlemantrader.com or support@precisiontrader.com or support@andrewscourse.com, and it will come to me. So I thank you for your time. Have a good day.